Why the cancer war room? Why did this happen? I know my third son asked me that. Why the cancer war room, Mom? Why war? And I've had a few people come up to me and say, "Why war, Mom?" Well, the thing about it is that if you talk to a holistic healer, they're going to say, "Oh, we want to keep the word war out of the picture because it has a negative energy, a negative connotation." And I'll tell you, I was on board with that until 2023 when I was diagnosed with colorectal cancer. Um, and I was forced to move into the medical community to get treatment because my bowel was completely blocked off. All right. And what I realized over the course of the treatment and recovery that I went through, God just spoke into my heart. And Spirit said, "This is a war. It's the cancer war room." This is the words that I kept hearing in my head. So I felt like it was Spirit led, the cancer war room. I mean, once cancer hits you, you have compromised, and we'll talk about this a little later, you have compromised every health defense system in your body. And there are 5 of them. If you don't know what they are, the 5, put it in the comments below. I want to know. Or text me. I want to know what the 5 health defense systems are. The task you have ahead is like a war, like reclaiming your country, no, your world from a bunch of aliens that are looking to kill you just by default because what they need to survive is an environment that you can't survive in. That is the reality of cancer. This is a war. But the enemy is not who you think it is. And we're going to talk about that. So, my goal today is to get you a place where you feel like you can touch on that hope. You can see that you have power and autonomy and confidence in your unique health battle plan. That's my goal today. Because everyone I talk to has either been touched by someone with cancer or has had cancer themselves and is perhaps afraid they're going to have a recurrence of the cancer. It is devastating. And it is something that we need to face squarely, and then we need to get a strategy. So let me tell you my story, which starts way back before. Okay. I experienced a bunch of different roadblocks that got me to where I am today. So it starts in 2008 when I had a secondary spleen rupture. My spleen ruptured and I wasn't really doing anything. I was healthy, I was exercising, so I thought, and I actually had 2 fully functioning spleens that I did not know about, and one of them ruptured. And then I ended up in the hospital with major surgery, major abdominal, still have the scar. It's a big 8-inch scar. They didn't know what was happening because it was a secondary spleen and they saw my organs were accounted for. So they were like, what is this strange cyst that looks like a golf ball? You know, it was actually bigger. It was like the size of an orange. Um, and that was the beginning. I was highly motivated at that point to develop a very, very strong immune system so I could be a healthier mom and eventually a healthy grandma. I was fearful of being a mess. And it took about 2, 3 months to rehab my body from that spleen rupture. All right. That was the first indicator that I had something going on. But all along, I had female issues. So as I had headed into perimenopause, um, I had typical symptoms of perimenopause. How many of you out there are experiencing symptoms like excessive bleeding, foggy head, can't even concentrate or think? Uh, you've got weird symptoms, weird weight gain, erratic periods, not always consistent, right? You'll start a period, stop, and start again. I mean, things that doctors don't even know what to do. They just tell you, you're just in perimenopause. Well, you know what? It's more than, you're just in perimenopause. You are actually experiencing problems with your endocrine system and your sugar metabolism. This is important, people. So 2 times in my life, I experienced this issue with heavy bleeding. 2 times I went to 2 different gynecologists, and each of them said that all that needed to happen was I needed to remove my uterus, and that would solve the problem. And I kept thinking, well, there's an underlying issue here why I'm experiencing such really serious, terrible symptoms. They were disruptive to my life. So I started to research. And in addition to a family member who was having some health issues, I stumbled on enzyme nutrition that I did not know was really important for us. So, enzyme nutrition and food as medicine. That's what I started doing. And what I noticed was, as I started working on my health with enzyme nutrition and food as medicine, I started actually looking younger than I had when I was younger. So, in my old age, I'm looking younger than I did when I was in my 20s and 30s. Go figure. I think my body was under a lot of stress. Well, the third wall I hit after I got through the immune system issue, started working on that. And then I got through the female issues. That was my sugar metabolism and endocrine disruptors, right? The third wall was the cancer. And I developed a tumor after an unwanted divorce in 2022. My sense of worth was through the floor. I was incredibly unhappy that I was being divorced. I struggled with codependency. I felt like I had victory over codependency. And I just experienced a lot of fear and anxiety in my life. And so all of that created a perfect storm. It was a financial storm, it was a relational storm, it was a mental emotional storm, and it dug up the root of the spiritual storm that I was encountering in 2022. And that then I developed colorectal cancer. Okay, well, I really wanted to be healthy for my kids and my grandkids, like I said before, and I wanted to stop feeling sick and tired. So I decided that I needed to move forward with that after I was diagnosed with cancer, and hence worked with alternative therapies as well as the medical establishment. So that's kind of my story. That's the backdrop of how I came to do the Cancer War Room and why I'm even here. All right. And the last thing I want to say is that I really want to offer you a strategy session and time in the spa area that we've created that can really bring that sympathetic stress response down so that you're actually resting and relaxing and repairing and not running away from the bears in your life. If you got something from what I shared today, post something and comment. And I promise you, I will answer all the questions that you may have. I'm going to stop recording right now. And thanks for listening. We'll talk soon.